So let's get rolling with this meeting as we kind of look at just a quick update for those obviously here live, those in the future watch this. It might not be as relevant, but it's still important to keep an eye on the drivers. I talk about this every day in the trading room. I talk about this in these weekly sessions. Iran, U.S., China, and the FOMC. And by the way, if you're trading, doing something else, don't listen to this. Go back on recording and watch it or listen to it. I know it's tough to listen, but I think these are pretty good sessions. If you're going to trade, trade. Don't try to trade and listen to me. You're not going to get as much out of either. But U.S.-China trade, there's going to be comments coming in the next couple of weeks, both either good or bad. That's going to move us. It's just when and what. Anticipate them. Don't be surprised by them. Iran, they've gone from the back seat to the front seat to the back seat. When there's any kind of confrontation, they're trying to provoke us, whether it's taking a drone out, whether us taking their drone out, whether it's them seizing a couple of UK ships, right? That sent the market lower on Friday if you were watching. That news broke. So Iran being provocative will cause some downside. The knee-jerk is bearish for stocks, bullish for bonds. You have to know that. Hopefully everybody knows that by now. But again, Iran's in the driver's seat until they're not. Are they as important as U.S.-China trade? Who cares? They're important. Are they as important as the FOMC? Who cares? So the FOMC in about 2 weeks from tomorrow, July 30, 31, that's a week from today, right? Week from tomorrow, today and tomorrow, July 30, 31 is the 2-day Fed meeting, and on the 31st, last day of July, 1 p.m. Central, their statement on interest rates, they're going to go a quarter and maybe a half. Tom brought this up in the trading room today. There might be priced in where they're disappointed. They get a quarter, pissed they don't get a half, and stocks break. If they go a quarter and they're real dovish, stocks might not break. So there's a lot of moving pieces to trading the statement next Wednesday, July 31st at 1 p.m. Central. I'm going to be in front of screens to trade, just not at home. I'll talk about more in the trading room for that for next week. The subject for today's meeting, I titled it, "That's a Lot of Money." What does that mean? I touched on it in the trading room, and I wanted to expand upon it so everybody knew what I was talking about. There's something that's really difficult to do in this business, especially when you're trying to do it after you just lost a lot of money. And people, I don't think, have an accurate read on what's a lot of money. And here's what I mean by that. Let's go to the next slide. I put in some images right now. I'm not going to fly them in or anything. I'm just going to draw a lot and write a lot. Let's say on this side of the ledger, this individual is worth $10 million. He's worth $10 million. He's got a $50,000 account. Pretty good money, right? He's worth $10 million, mostly cash, very low debt. And he's got a nice trading account that he's going to play around with, $50,000, correct? This guy let himself go over the years, not a good saver. Is only worth $10,000. And so he was only opening up a $2,000 trading account. I put these images in here to continue to confirm the point. I'm not making fun of overweight people, and I'm just trying to solidify the point. So 10 million, 10,000, right? They're both trading futures. Does this guy, first question, on the right, is he a better trader? Oh, and here's the other thing. They're both with similar amounts of experience, time or education, similar amounts of experience, okay? Their money's different. Their net worth is different, similar amounts of experience, right? Does this guy have a better chance of making money? On the surface, yes. He's got more of it, more bullets. On the surface, yes. But I don't think there's really a good answer to that with any probability. He's got a better chance to stay around longer, but that doesn't mean success. So from a probability standpoint, he's got longevity because of money, but not necessarily success. You could just be blowing through it and take him 5 years, and this guy 5 months, and he's gone, right? So in that case, he's got more time, but not necessarily a much greater chance to make money in this business. All right. Now, the key with the point I'm trying to make is you don't have to be worth $10 million or have a $50,000 account in order to be in this category. Okay. There's a lot more people in this room that are in this category. And I don't mean $10 million. I mean, they've done okay for themselves. They got decent savings. They have a decent trading account. I'm not saying that they could retire and do nothing or live on a yacht or have a yacht. No, I'm just saying that resourceful. So most people that come to this program are resourceful. They could lose money in their account, won't change their lifestyle. I think that's very fair to say. All right. They're smart. There's a lot of more retail traders who, especially now with the micro, can open up an account for $200, $300, $400, trade. 2,000 is now a big account for a micro trader, correct? So when you get into this understanding of who has what, and it really doesn't predict who's going to necessarily have a better chance at success. They've got the same levels of experience. The problem starts to happen when a bigger account, and this could be to anyone in this session. It doesn't have to be you're the $10 million, $50,000 guy. Relatively speaking, you're the person who could afford to lose what's in your account and it won't make one bit of difference. All right? You could be on the right side of this split screen. So you have a $50,000 account or $20,000 account, which is still big, and you lose $500, right? Trading, which is what? 40 ticks roughly, S&P ticks. So you lose 40 ticks one day, $500. This guy with a much smaller account, smaller net worth, if he loses $2,000, that doesn't change his lifestyle, but it hurts. You know what I mean? It hurts. He loses $500 same day. All right. Now, his account looks a lot worse on paper. Percentage-wise, that's why I got the percentage here. Percentage-wise, $1,500 sucks. This guy's account, though, is $49,500. That doesn't look that much worse, including percentage-wise, right? Not a big deal, you would think, from him. A real big deal for this guy, because that really changes the account percentage-wise, lost $500. Here's the real answer. Both are in trouble if they think that way. And the reason is because he's going to be more nervous the next day, the next trade. He is going to have trouble coming back because $500 is a lot of money. This guy is going to have one of two problems. He's either going to be a guy who says, you know what, $500. I still got 49.5 in there. He's going to devalue the money and the risk, and that's a negative. This guy's overvaluing the money, right? Because of how little he's worth or how little's in his account and how big of a percentage of $500 loss was, right? You with me? This guy might devalue it because he's got a lot of net worth and he's got a lot of money in his account, relatively speaking. Or he'll probably do what this guy does, only slightly different, and that is he's going to say, I won't spell it out. Well, maybe I will. He's going to get mad. He's going to be pissed. He's not going to devalue the money. He's going to look at $500 and saying, you know what? $500 is a lot of money. Not because I only have $2,000 in my account, because I got 50. Not because I'm only worth $10,000, because I'm worth 10 million, this guy. $500 is a lot of money because as humans, and everybody's got to know this, the value of money isn't based on how much more of it you have, it's how much it could buy. $500 could buy the same thing for this guy as for this guy, right? $500 could buy a couple plane tickets, could buy a nice purse, shoes, suit, things that'll last you a long time, right? For either guy. People with financial freedom are not thinking, we're not thinking, hey, just 500, I'll make it up. Chances are you don't get to this level of decent wealth if you devalued money all the way up. You can't devalue money all the way up. Chances are you wouldn't go all the way up. You're not necessarily cheap with it or risk adverse with it, but you're smart with it. The true value of money is how much it could buy. If this guy loses $50, what's $50? We're going to buy $50. Crappy pair of jeans, a breakfast for your kids. Whatever you buy for $50 is usually gone. And there's no longevity to a $50 purchase generally, right? You guys know what I mean. The purchasing power of 50 is a lot less than 500. Now, if this guy thinks that it's not no big deal, well, he's in trouble. He's a cowboy. He's going to blow through his $50,000. You gotta have that fine line of not overvaluing a loss, but not devaluing a loss either. All right. He's most likely going to be a little pissed because $500 is a lot of money. This guy's definitely going to be pissed. Or he's just going to be numb, not care, and just blow the rest of the $1,500 so he could just be done with this horrible experience. And then try to find someone else to blame so he feels a little bit better for blowing his account after account after account because it wasn't his fault. It was someone he might have paid to get educated from, or system he bought, or a book he bought, or just the fact that the market sucks and it's against him. So his pain is, I just blow the rest, and self-fulfilling prophecy, I knew I was right. Found someone else to blame, and then he feels a little bit better about himself. He goes on his way. When you are a retail trader, which means someone who's never been able to create some consistency and profitability for any period of time, when you lose a lot of money, it's going to be very hard to come back from that. Now, I'm not meaning ever, but come back from that day, the next day, the next week. You're going to have in the back or the front of your mind the trading that lost you, quote, a lot of money, which is going to make you miss future trades. Just get really pissed and take a future trade. Because the concept of, hey, this is a lot of money, is going to make you do things that either are too aggressive or too passive. You're going to go one way or the other. I don't care if it's the guy with 10 million or the guy with 10,000. I don't care if he's got $2,000 in account or $50,000 in account. If he loses $500, both guys are going to have a tough time on the next trade. The next day, they're going to question what they did because they just did it with these kinds of results. Now, if they're good traders and they make $10,000, $20,000 a month and they lose $500, yeah, it's a lot of money, but hey, I've done it before. I'm going to continue to just be consistent and bang out my strategy. And this is just part of the what? Equity curve. So then they accurately value the money. They're not worried about what that money could buy. They're not worried about how much it came down off their account. They truly look at that money as a marketing outlay for a business, a necessary cost to get to work. In order to make money, you have to get to work. In order to get to work, you have to buy a car, you have to put gas in it. Those are necessary expenses to get to work. Trading losses, once you're consistent, you truly look at them as necessary expenses to do my job. If you've never been consistent, how are you going to bounce back if you can't rationalize that way from a big loss? And a big loss could be 500, it could be 250. It could be, hey, it could be 3 days of 3 trades of 120, 120, 120. It could be added up through the week. So at the end of the week, you're down 750. Wasn't just in one day, it was the whole week. Good luck coming back on Monday of the next week if you lost 750 of a $2,000 account or 750 on a $50,000 account. 750, you're going to be thinking, because you're human, if I just didn't wake up that week, I'd be able to go to California with my wife. That's what we do. We think about the money we lost and what it's going to buy and think I should have just got that. If it's a lot. And it is. $1,000 is a lot of money, whether you got 10 million or $10. $1,000 could buy something. Same thing with $10,000. Same thing with $20,000, right? The point I'm trying to make is, when you try to make money, you're going to lose some. I don't care if you try to make money and you do, you're going to lose some in this business. You're going to have a pullback, much different than most jobs people have. You get a check every couple weeks, or your business is profitable, so you take a check every month, whatever, correct? You might make a little less, but you don't look at that as a loss, and most employees are making the same every few weeks. It's just that's what we're trained. You don't have you don't give money back. You don't take your check, cash it, and then give it back to the employer. You can actually give it back to the government. That's kind of a pullback. But you know the point. You don't have an equity curve that looks like a trader's equity curve. So when you have an equity curve and it has a pullback, you could deal with it if you've been profitable for a while. But when you have an equity curve, and I'm going to get rid of all these drawings, when you have an equity curve that, if this is the zero line that does this, and you're still below zero, right? Then you get one of these $500 losers. How are you going to bounce back from that? It's just going to be really harder. So it has nothing to do with digging a hole. It just has to do with where you're at. Hey, even if you came up to here, back to even for the year, bam, $500 loser. You're gonna have a tough time coming back from that, based on the experiences and the latest track record that you have. The definition of a lot of money is how much it could buy, not how much the guy has. Get that out of your head. The guy could bounce back from it quicker from a, I don't know, logical, mathematical standpoint, but how about a mental standpoint? What if this guy with $10 million and a $50,000 account gets so pissed that he lost $500 because he's not used to losing money? He's a successful person, disciplined guy, and he broke all the rules in his trading, broke disciplines, which he never does, lost $500, and then his wife comes home and says, hey, I bought this Louis Vuitton wallet, $4.99. What do you think he's going to say? Or think? He might not say anything. Just because you're disciplined to get to this amount in some other business, and this amount could be 5 million, 2 million, 1 million, 20 million, a lot of different people with different net worths in this room. Generally, this is a much bigger net worth, both mentally, monetarily, and success-wise. But with people that get up to having financial freedom, there's some discipline involved, right? So work ethic involved. There's being somewhat smart and everything else. So when that person breaks discipline, it even affects him more because he's not used to it, right? He's not used to it. This guy might be used to a lot of failures, right? Or maybe he's doesn't have a good work ethic. Maybe he doesn't, follow through. And I'm not trying to say everybody with a lower net worth is like that, but you think that this guy is going to get frustrated more by losing 500 than this guy? I say no. I say they're both going to struggle coming back from a big down day. So you guys know me as being about solutions. We talk about the problem. We try to attach solutions to them. And that is the micros have come along and made it impossible for you to lose $500. You could trade like absolute horseshit and you shouldn't lose $500. You should trade like absolute horseshit and lose $100 and really have to go talk to your dog, and you could do better in the micro because it's $1.25 a tick. Now, the first person that says to me, I have good days in there, Anthony, I'll make $40 and $20 and $17 and $20 and $40. What am I going to do with that? Throw them out a window. The reason why you're having consistency, if you're having consistency in here, is because when you do lose money, $40, you're able to come back that next day. Because if you did it over here with the mini, you'd have lost $500, right? You think you'd come back from that day and make 40 ticks on that day? No, you lost $40. So you made it. The ticks are the same. The money that comes from it is different. That's why you're not trading the money, because it won't add up to anything either way. You're trading for the experience of being consistent with a strategy that you could review, the experience of being consistent with a strategy that you could review with some skin in the game, the experience of reviewing a strategy that you're executing with skin in the game, that you don't get killed when you trade like shit. And most of you are going to trade like shit, especially at the beginning of something. And I always tell people the beginning of your trading pretty much started when you met me. Not because I'm the best educator in the world, but I think that most people, and you might have, well, I should say that again. If you've taken education that's similar to mine, and there's some out there, then that's when your trading career started. Your trading career didn't start 10 years ago because you read a book about the business and opened an account and we're trading Fibonacci levels or whatever, you know what I mean? That's not when you started trading. You started trading when you really got into understanding how to value price, understanding how to review what you were doing, understanding that missing trade sucks, understanding what order flow could mean, understand what correlations were. That's when you started trading. And now with the introduction of a micro product, which is also liquid, because it would be useless if it wasn't liquid, it's liquid and it's getting more liquid, which means every price you can get in and out with decent size. Now, at some point, then you make the move to the E-mini and then build your size in there. So your progress or success equity curve would be like this. You would have, if you go up small steps, that's not going to make you any money, but you're not expecting to. What you're looking to do is get to the ladder. Think about this. You're looking to get to the ladder. And on the ladder, there's another ladder or a bridge that's going up. Now the money is going up because these little steps was making some money in the micro. That got you to the ladder, which means you're now trading the mini, but you feel like it's the micro because mentally you've been trained. So now you're going up. Now you're up on a bridge. So you're moving up, but you started moving up slow at first. Baby steps that got you to a ladder. So you got these big steps, a ladder. It's just easier to go up the ladder, right? It'll feel easier. So before, you had to start with these big steps just to get to the ladder, because the big steps were made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, made, lost. If you were just trading the E-mini or gold or crude oil, markets that you cannot change or trade cheap. Can't trade them small. You could trade the micro big and it's still small. So I can't encourage people enough. If you agree that you're not supposed to trade the money and you agree that you're not supposed to think about the money, it's useless to try to do those two things because you're going to trade the money. Don't trade the money, someone says. Well, guess what? I wasn't until you just said it. We're going to trade the money. But what if the money was literally just a number and a bit insignificant? Not in a cowboy Wild Wild West way, but in a I could still follow through with my process. It's not going to be a big losing day. And so I'm going along, making some money, trading the minis, doing good, and then wham, that happens. So it took only from here to lose back what it took to get from here to here. 1 day to give back 2 weeks. How many people have been there where 1 day gave it back 3-4 weeks of profits? Say yes. How many people have given back a lot of profits in a very short period of time? Everybody with yeses and exclamation points. 3, 4, 5 weeks of profit, sometimes 6 months of profit, 2 days gone, 1 trade gone. And the reason is because the money is just front and center. It's front and center when you went up, and then you went up, got off the hook, you got a little lucky with things, and then the market wasn't letting you off so easy, and wham, everything you were doing poorly in here and getting away with it, boom, got back to you right there. And so now here's the problem with this. How soon do you think you're going to go back there? Maybe never. And I don't mean never for anybody who's had it now, because you're kind of always looking at things of trying to do something better. But a lot of people, depending on how much money they lost in 1 day, you know, how easy, how hard do you think it's going to be able to get back on track? Not just the money, but get back on track. Mentally, there's not a psychiatrist that's going to talk to you at the end of this day and make you feel good when you leave. Only if this pullback maybe didn't take back everything, just some of it. Yeah, it was a bad day, but you know what? It only took back 20%. So now mentally you got something to compare it against. Your profits, not your net worth, but your profits. So the mind is really what's keeping a lot of people from getting consistent and staying consistent. And it comes back into don't trade the money, but you're trading the money because that's what we're doing this for. And then you get in, some people I've talked to get into the micro and they get mad that they're consistent and doesn't add up to anything. And I literally said, I'd beat the shit out of you if you were right next to me. I'd fire you if you worked for me. I'd beat the shit out of you because I like you. And it was really stupid. If the guy was smaller than me. If he was bigger than me, then I wouldn't try. But if he was smaller than me, then, and I think I could beat him up, I would. You want to be with that problem. Micro, because here's what's really good about this micro. Get your ass kicked, $40. You still lost, and this is the last thing I'm going to say. You still lost 40 ticks, right? 40 ticks is $500, right? In the E-mini, correct? Close. It's $12.50 a tick. In the micro, the MES, 40 ticks is $50. No, not even. Now, whatever, $45. Let's say 50. So think about this. In the ES and the micro, you still traded like crap. You lost 40 ticks in the same way, right? You lost 40 ticks. Terrible day. But guess what? It's only $50, not $500. So on the next day, okay, because there's a next day coming, next day or next trade, but there's a next time coming, right? You got a better chance of coming back by a factor of 1 million. here than here. You ain't coming back from there, or not coming back easy. You've got a chance to come back here. Even though, guys, you took the same trades and lost the same amount of ticks. Same trades, same amount of ticks. It was just in the minor leagues. So you got to give yourself the opportunity to come back tomorrow. Just come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. One of the mentors, when I did my trading floor education, said that. You got to come back tomorrow. So whatever you do today, you better come back tomorrow. You better be able to come back tomorrow. And you come back tomorrow and you're all beat up because of this, and it ain't hard to lose 500 with 1 and 2 lots in the ES. You guys know that, right? You know that in the E-minis, it ain't hard to lose 500. To me, when you start talking 500, to me, that starts buying a lot, enough to make you pissed. Right? I'm starting to get pissed. If I'm buying a plane ticket and it goes up $50 the next day, and I'm like, shit, I'll buy it. Whatever it was, $250, it's $300. I'll buy it. But if it goes from 200 to 600, 700, I'm gonna be, what the? You can't come back and make decisions when you're thinking about, I might not buy the plane ticket. It's going to be a harder decision for me to buy the plane ticket. It was $300 today, and for whatever reason, it's $800 tomorrow. I might not buy it. But if it's $300 today and $350 tomorrow, I'll just buy it before it goes to $400. Easier decision. So if it's an easier decision to make, then they're going to be easier decisions to make on your day back. These are your days back. Always think about the next day or the next trade. What Brad said, when you're trading, are you going to be proud of this trade when you go to review it before you know what the results are? Everybody could say, hey, it's a winning trade. I'm going to be proud of this son of a bitch when I review it. No, before you know the results, are you going to be proud of this trade in 4 hours when you go review it? And guess what? Most people don't even review their trades. So it's useless to ask that question. Now, some people would say, well, review the trade. I don't really do that. So just take it. You've got to be proud of the trades you take, even the ones that are losers, because they fit with what you wanted to see. And then if you're consistent and what you're seeing doesn't work, at least you know to change it. But if you're 1 foot on the boat and 1 foot on the pier all the time, it's going to be very difficult to quantify how you're doing. Baseball batting stances are all different, just like we're all trading slightly different. We all have a bat. We're all trying to hit a pitch, but we all have different approaches, right? Some of us are righties, some are lefties. Some are better fastball hitters on the inside, some high, some low, all got different batting stances, right? It's amazing how many baseball players there are, and there's not that many similar batting stances. So if I'm helping you trade, and the first week of our training, you got this batting stance, and then we go through the results, and then you just change the batting stance the next week, and we go through some results, and then it's different. I'm like, how do we ever going to get to how good that batting stance is? You keep changing it. Every other time up at bat, you change it. How are we going to know if it worked? Well, I struck out once. Of course, yeah, you're going to strike out. That doesn't mean you change your batting stance. I struck out twice, struck out 3 times. You're in the wrong business. You're going to have bad days, bad at bats. It doesn't mean you have to change every time. You got to do. Therefore, you got to be consistent. And then, hey, after a certain amount of time, then the right guy goes to you and says, hey, but you better change your batting stance. But it's certainly not after a week in trading. The chances are there's so many things you guys haven't used or used incorrectly, or your timing is off. It could be one little thing to change, and you could be going in the right direction. That Tony Robbins says, when he talked to a plastic surgeon, he said there's just millimeter differences that would make an ugly person a nice-looking person. Or a millimeter change in the way someone hits a golf ball that makes a, 250-yard slice to the right turn into a 300-yard drive down the middle. Those little changes, when you look at them out, changes the entire trajectory of a golf shot or one's face. So I'm not trying to ask you which camp you're in, 10 million, 10,000, or you're kind of well-to-do, kind of not, doesn't matter. The commonality, the common denominator is a lot of money is a lot of money. Did you ever hear someone say, he's got a lot of money, don't worry about it? Who's that piss off? The person with the quote, lot of money. Why? Because that guy just devalued my money. A lot of money is a lot of money, no matter how much more you have of it. Now, this guy over here, he could be in the game longer and risk more money because it doesn't change his lifestyle. This guy's got to be a little smarter. But boy, wouldn't it be nice to trade like shit and still not have to lose what's considered a lot of money until you finally are able to get it. And instead of foul tipping, instead of swinging and missing, line drive through the middle, line drive up the middle, line drive up the middle. All you're trying to do is a nice clean shot up the middle, not over the wall, not in the gap, not down the line. When I coach my kids in baseball, all the other kids, when they go up the batter's box, I tell each one of them, hey, last thing, up the middle. Just hit the ball up the middle. Make the pitcher have to get out of the way. Hit the ball right. I don't say hit the ball, knock his head off. I don't do that. I say hit the ball, back up the middle. Make a move. And that just got them thinking up the middle. Comes in, down the middle, back up the middle. Hit it back where it came from. So I hope this helped. It's not something that I worked on for weeks and weeks and weeks. It just come to me, and it's like one of those things that a lot of people will devalue money for the wrong reasons or overvalue money. But what's the best way to solve that? And I got news for you. The CME, they did something. This is probably their best move, introducing a contract ever in the history of their existence, because it gives people it gives people access to futures without having to lose a lot of money to get good. These are practice games. People are watching in practice games, or maybe a scholarship for you. We're going to draft you to the big leagues. So the practice games are important. Don't get me wrong. You want to play well, but it's a practice game. That's what the micro is. You could put a couple contracts on and get yourself in a position to trade like shit. Excuse my language today, but I wanted to make a point. You could trade like shit and still come back tomorrow. I want you to trade like shit and still come back tomorrow because you didn't lose a lot of money. If you trade like shit and lose a lot of money, it's just hard to come back tomorrow. But if you trade like shit and the money was taken out of it, now you can come back tomorrow. But that's not demo, because the demo is just, man, your mind, it'd be like scrambling eggs, demo to micro. No, just demo. You're not just demoing. It's got to cost you something. There's got to be some skin in the game. I bet my kids, I don't want to, when we play basketball, I don't want them to lose $5 because they could buy a lot with $5 in their minds. But, I want them to give me a quarter. If I hear them swearing, they got to give me a quarter. Something. Or else it just becomes, hey, if I hear you swearing next time, you got to give me a quarter. Yeah, okay. Next time. That's what demo is. Don't do that next time. It's going to cost you money next time. We're all adults now, but we were kids, and we know what we can get away with. Demo trading allows you to get away with too little emotional capital. You have zero of it when you don't have any skin in the game, and micro gives you some with the ability to trade like shit and come back. It's almost like you get beat up but your bruises and everything goes away so you could fight the next day. You felt like what it was to get beat up, but you didn't get the bruises and the soreness so you could fight the next day, right? Because it ain't going to be fun losing 40 ticks with 1 and 2 lots in the micro. You're going to feel it sucks. You're wrong. But guess what? You come back the next day, you're not down $500. So you don't have the bruises. You'll fight again. I want people fighting and trading. You're in, you're out. I'm long 96. It doesn't have to be this fast, but I got long 94 quarters. They shook my ass out, then they went. I was able to put them back out 5 even, and sold 4, made 4 or 5 ticks, scratched the other 2. They started topping off, and the NASDAQ got hit. I took a shot short because I seen some buyers come in. It was an immediate 4-tick winner. I screwed up on the first half, but the second half I took 12 ticks. And still won another 13 ticks. Then they come back through the center. I didn't know what the hell was going to happen. So I had lunch, and I come back, and I see that Trump had a tweet, and I missed it, that U.S.-China is not going to meet. Now we're down 12 handles. Now what? It's coming back up where that tweet was. When I get short, when I see some longs get stuck in there. And it worked for a couple points, and I think I'm really still pissed because I missed the opportunity of breaking 12 points when Trump said that. You're trading your ideas, your contracts, your money, your emotions. And then when you're done, you have that discussion with someone who could talk back with you. You can't have that conversation with your spouse unless they trade. They don't know what we're doing. You can't have that conversation with a plumber unless they trade. You can't have that conversation with an insurance salesman unless they trade. You have to have it with people that are involved in this market where they have no idea what we're doing. I've always said this. You could talk to a plumber about faucets and toilets and showers, even if you're not a plumber. You can have a conversation about toilets and faucets and showers, right? But he can't have a conversation to us about why the micro is better than the mini and why stuck longs didn't puke and send the market lower because the NASDAQ rallied because Apple's strong because they're going to introduce this new iPhone. The plumber's eyes would be crossed. They can't get it. So you got to talk to people who get it. It's what these weekly sessions are for, and trading floor sessions are for, or trading room sessions are for. So hope you guys got something out of this. Summary: don't be a hero in the mini. Be a hero in the micro. And if you worry that it doesn't add up, don't see me next to a window. You guys got any questions? No? Good. I thought it was funny that this guy was overweight and only 10,000. Don't take offense to it, though. Everybody takes, you guys know, but everybody's so sensitive these days, right? My wife says, why does everybody get offended? She goes, I don't get offended by anything. I said, that's well said. I said, you get offended when I say certain things. Well, she goes, that's different. But think about that. Everybody gets offended. Get good at not being offended. And that's what you say to people. Say, it takes a lot to get me offended.